One of the great mysteries of NASCAR is when the hell the schedule is ever going to release. Sometimes it releases early in the summer, sometimes it releases late in the summer, and other times it releases in the fall or just drops out of nowhere. So today, I wanted to give an updated prediction of what I think the 2026 schedule will look like. Mostly for the Cup Series, but I will add in a bit of what I think could happen with the Xfinity or truck side of things. It has been rumored that a lot of things could happen, but at the same time, there is also conflicting facts that push back on too many big things. But first, we have to go to what we know. And what we know for sure is February 15th and November 8th. Those are the dates to begin and end the points-paying season for NASCAR. February 15th obviously being the Daytona 500 with the Speed Week or Speed Days before that, as well as November 8th being the return to Homestead Miami Speedway for the 2026 NASCAR finale, assumingly with all three series as it's always been. And with this, it also means that there will be a second bye weekend. More than likely, it'll be Easter again, just like this year, and maybe have the two lower series at the Rock, as long as it's being sold is not going to be changing too much, and then maybe one during the summer. I would assume probably after the Brickyard 400, as it kind of evens up the schedule into nice, mostly thirds for the teams, drivers, and industry all. And with that, I do think that it's pretty much confirmed that the 600 and the Southern 500 will remain on their traditional dates. There's no reason to change them at this time. Also, we know that the TV providers will mostly stay the same unless something changes majorly. The Fox portion of the year will be the first 12 points races, plus the Clash and All-Star race, then followed by 5 races on Prime, 5 on TNT, and the last 14 split between NBC and USA. Though there has been a split at Warner Discovery, as they have now 2 different companies altogether, one for producing, one for putting stuff out there. So there's no telling what that could do when it comes to NASCAR coverage for TNT. And also, USA Network has been offshot from the Comcast series of networks. So we don't know if that means there might be more races on NBC, or if things stay the same, or if maybe they stay on the cable provider for Comcast, which the top one at this time would be Bravo. Now to my predictions. The first one I have is that I think Bowman Gray will retain the Clash for 2026. It's heavily favored at this time, and it's looking like its February 1st date will fit perfectly in the schedule itself. Bowman Gray, I think, offered a decent enough show to be given a second year, and while NASCAR seems to try to be eyeing Brazil or international races for this, Bowman Gray fits really damn well. Also, when it comes to the initial couple races, I do think that we're going to stay the same through the West Coast swing. I think Daytona and Atlanta as a 1-2 punch of super speedways is viewership gold. COTA is a good way to maybe have an olive branch to fans outside of the sports, and the West Coast swing just makes sense when it comes to logistics. So those all, I think, at the start of the season will stay the same. Where there's going to be some changes is where Homestead was. At this time, we have Martinsville, Bristol, and Darlington all around the same spot in the schedule, as well as Rockingham for the Easter weekend, which this coming year will be April 5th. I think that another one gets added to it as the lone Richmond date gets moved back to the spring on the Fox portion of the schedule, as it just makes sense when you have to have a race from later on in the season be pushed there, a warmer weather race, closer to home as well. And on top of all of that, there's really, I don't think, a good pathway for 2026 at least for North Wilkesboro to be added as a points race. I think it'll happen sooner rather than later, but the more I think about it, there's really nothing that makes too much sense. Get rid of Darlington, well, that's a pretty good one for the ratings, and the attendance has actually been pretty decent. I don't think that would fit unless you want to make North Wilkesboro your throwback weekend, and Darlington only has the lone date of the Southern 500. It'd be controversial, but it could be something that works. Bristol doesn't make sense. The ticket sales alone justify Bristol even half full. It's about 4 times as many people as North Wilkesboro would have, and I don't see them getting rid of a Martinsville date either. After that, it finishes out the same way that the Fox portion of the schedule did this year, in my opinion, with it going Texas, then Kansas, then North Wilkesboro, all these after the April ending race of Alabama with Talladega. As for the prime portion of the schedule, I don't see too big of changes with these. I actually think we keep the same 5 tracks we have this year. It is worth noting June 21st, which would be the 5th prime race, is Father's Day weekend, but I don't think that Mexico moves a week back to fit that. I think instead they just keep it as is, as it's probably a lot easier when it comes to logistics. I think the only thing they could make a change with these two is maybe swapping Michigan and Nashville. Michigan being right after the 600, it's a bit of a trek up there, but not too bad. And then Nashville is not too bad of a trip from Charlotte, and it cuts about 8 to 10 hours, give or take, maybe even more, off of the trip down to Mexico right after that. I think that's the only ones that really make sense when it comes to a change at that portion of the schedule. Now the TNT portion of the year. I think these races are going to be really interesting because I think the last 3 stay the same. You got Sonoma, then Dover, and then the Brickyard. You have your in-season tournament, you have all that, but where I think the changes might be is that Atlanta might go from a Saturday night to a Sunday night race if TNT's programming allows it. It makes more sense with the rating side of things, and it's also a date that I don't think they will ever give up, as the initial home base when it comes to Turner is in Atlanta, Georgia. So this is something I think that's a point of pride for them. And then the only big change I think that happens here is that the Chicago street race will not be renewed for 2026. The rumor mill has shot up a ton in the last month and a half for Chicagoland Speedway. Drivers are now openly talking about it. They're posting about it on their social media side of things with Instagram, Twitter, you name it. And fans are really getting behind bringing the mile-and-a-half track in Joliet back. The racing should be pretty damn good with this car and how worn out the track is. And I think that on July 5th, possibly afternoon, possibly night, we see the return of Chicagoland Speedway for the first time since before COVID. Now to the finishing portion of the season. We are going to have the race at Iowa, as is now, and I think after that, New Hampshire. On top of that, I think then we go to Watkins Glen and Daytona to close out the regular season. The first round, if they do have rounds, will stay the same in my opinion. Darlington, Gateway, and Bristol. No reason to fix something that isn't broke. After that, the second round. I think Kansas would open that up if we have the rounds as they are now. After that, though, I think instead of the Roval, we go to the Oval. I think it's been long overdue to leave the Charlotte Roval and go back to the Oval race, even if it's a 400-miler. It could be a 500-miler, but I would bet with how NASCAR's been shortening races, it would probably be a 400-miler. The racing is some of the best in all of NASCAR, and it's great for all 3 series. It's a hometown race that all 3 series can be good in and not junk everything up. I think this would be a perfect way to go about it. And then I think we have a mini West Coast swing, where I think we go to Las Vegas with an evening race as is scheduled this year, and that would close out the round of 12 if we have it. The next race to open it up, in my opinion, would be Phoenix, which again, being on USA Network more than likely, could be a Sunday evening race. Even against Sunday Night Football, it's been proven in the past that as long as it's scheduled, these races' ratings could be better, and it would be cooler for those at the track. So I think that those would be the last couple when it came to the cable races. And then ending at Talladega, Martinsville, and Homestead, as was announced before. I think that the schedule this year isn't going to see massive changes. I think those will definitely come in 2027. We'll find out eventually, whether it's this week, next month, or a couple months from now when the schedule is finally announced. And we'll probably learn about the point system sometime close to that as well. So with that, I want to know what you think. What changes do you want and do you think will come with the 2026 schedule? Let me know down in the comments below. While you're at it, leave a like on this video, share this video, and subscribe to this channel for more great and fun NASCAR content. Thank you so much to all my channel members for your continued support. Be sure to watch NWP tonight on Eric Estep's channel. Going to be a lot of fun talking about a lot of stuff on there. So until then, have a good one.